Our children are drowning in the middle of two vast roiling rivers. On one hand, we have a river full of technology and information. More information is created in one day, between 1 and 5 billion gigabytes, than were created from the beginning of writing to the year 2003. Our children are awash in a system of zeros and ones they cannot see, smell, taste, hear, or touch. And yet it is completely saturated every ounce of their being. That's the good news. Where I teach, in an area of severe disprivilege, there's another flood. We know it as trauma. I think of Jose, who, before he attended kindergarten, witnessed the murder-suicide of his mother and father. Carol, whose father has a considerably deeper relationship with the bottle than he does with her. Mary, who at 11 had figured out that vodka looks the same in an Aquafina bottle, at 12 was caught smoking weed on her 12th birthday in the bathroom next to my classroom. And at 13, was found ditching at a house near the school, in bed, with a heroin needle in her arm. It is no wonder to me why we think our schools are failing. Or maybe not. Maybe our schools aren't failing at all, because I'm seeing the same thing happen over the last 8 years I have been an educator. Maybe the flood is supposed to stay so high. I came to this conclusion in November of 2009. I had some of the most headstrong students you could possibly imagine. Everything I did was garbage. They were right, but I didn't know it at the time. They realized that what I was teaching them was not helping them on an everyday basis. And so I did what any new idiot teacher might want to do. I gave control of the classroom to them, something you're never supposed to do. Well, they demanded a democracy, and they wanted to build their own democracy in the classroom. Thinking they had pulled a fast one on me, I was a social studies teacher, it kind of worked out. These kids, after 3 weeks of some of the most amazing debate, and I truly do mean this, amazing debate, these kids had the greatest failure on tape I have ever captured. And I ended up taking over as the benign dictator. Now, instead of being the rock upon which those kids' hopes and dreams were dashed, I took a different approach, because I had learned my lesson. I had relearned how to swim, instead of sitting on the shore yelling at the kid to come to me for help. I jumped in. And as a result, transformed my teaching, and more importantly, the kids in my classroom. We developed a recycling program in our school where every single room has a recycling bin. We have a food program coming from the organic gardens grown at Harrison. We have a Valley Band project. The kids even got into engineering because there was so much mud in the commons area. You see, instead of looking at the technology and the trauma as a problem, I realized it was a natural resource that we hadn't been using. Just like our kids, a natural resource that we haven't been using. You see, the system that these kids are engaged with and that I have to suffer under, after all, I teach for free, I get paid to deal with adults, the system values, it values testing over transformation. It values corporate greed over neighborhood need. And it values profit over people. Is it any wonder our kids have given up on school when it's so very clear that our system has given up on them? It seems to make sense to me. You see, technology and a textbook, they have to be one. Trauma and a textbook, they have to be one idea brought into the most important part of a kid's life, themselves, what they're dealing with right now. This is what we need in our schools. They need to be talking about the real world, and that is uncomfortable sometimes. In fact, it should be uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. You can't tell me a toddler who keeps falling on his bottom is not uncomfortable every time he does. But once he does, those of us that have kids realize it's a thing of beauty to see his joy as he runs around the room. You see, maybe that's the problem. We don't see all kids as our kids. Because when we do, 3 principles are elevated to the top of our action when we see them as all ours. Love, be loved, and become something more. We all want that for our kids. So why is it so hard to believe we can do it for all kids? I challenge you. Dive into the flood with me. The water's fine.